a bit of a big one. Serge Gnabry is at the moment not finding a solution with Bayern Munich for a new contract. Runs out in 2023, same as Mo Salah's contract. And Goal, fairly reliable, have reported that Liverpool are considering signing him. They're interested in him with Real Madrid. But it is to replace Mohamed Salah, Jay. Do you think it's he does play on the right. He's got a fair few goals for Bayern Munich, and maybe even though he was at West Brom one time, he has turned into a world class winger out there.
Yeah, he's boss. He's still a good age as well, but to say just to replace Salah, they're two big boots to fill for him. I think good player, Gnabry, like he is really good, and he surprised me how well he's done at Bayern Munich. Because, like you say, he was at West Brom, obviously only on loan from Arsenal, but 3 seasons ago, he was turning it up for Munich. But again, mate, I think there's better options than Gnabry out there, to be honest.
Who would you go for? If you said there's better options, there's not many world class right wingers, is there, out there? Like when you're really looking at it. No, let's say we're directly replacing Salah here. As you said, Rafinha, but he's not going to produce the numbers that Salah is. I think Gnabry, he comes in and he does a better job than a lot of players we've been linked with.
He does, yeah, and it depends if players are available. I just personally, there's players I'd favour over him because I don't think many players, if any, are going to hit Salah's numbers. But I think Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen, Chiesa, I love at Juventus. He cost astronomical money, but if we sell Salah, then we're going to get astronomical money, I'd imagine. So them two be eye on my list for replacements. And believe it or not, I like Danjuma at Villarreal. We don't sign superstars, we make them. And he's gone to La Liga and been brilliant at Villarreal. He's got experience of playing in England, not the Premier League, but he's used to the physicality. So I prefer them and Nkunku, to be honest, mate. I think they're better suited.
Louis, do you agree with what Jay's saying there, or do you think he would be, one of the better options to replace Salah? I mean, he can play on the left and up front as well, something that we do know that the Liverpool scouting team like.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he's spot on as well what he said at the start. What you said, Charlie, we're not going to find someone who can replace him. That is the con of having, a world-class player, is it's pretty much impossible to replace them. Same goes for Trent when, in 10 years' time, when he's in his 30s and has to go, we're not going to find a direct replacement for him. It's just about sort of filling in the holes as best you can, I guess. So Gnabry, I would take him, definitely. I don't know what the fees around him would be. Are we talking like 30, 40 million? Or?
Oh, I think you're probably looking at Salah, what you'd be paying Salah, maybe a bit less. I think even though it's only a year left, you're probably looking at around 80 million, potentially.
Right, okay. That changes things a lot. Yeah, I don't think so. I'd happily keep going down the Jota, the Diaz route, finding players in that sweet spot who've got another level to go to and are just kind of stars in waiting as opposed to already stars.
Matty, he's 26 years old, only a year older than when Salah came in. He has experience in the Premier League, albeit not the best experience with West Brom and Arsenal, but experience nonetheless. And, when you're considering it might become a straight swap for Salah and Gnabry, let's say Salah leaves and then Gnabry comes straight in, we could do a lot worse, couldn't we?
I think we could do a lot better, though, to be honest, if we're talking 80 mil. The thing with what I'd look at is most Salah's, no one expect them to have these numbers at Liverpool, and I think it's very much down to the system and the way that we play as well. So do I think Salah could replicate these numbers on another side? I'm not too sure, to be honest. He's world class, but everything goes through Salah. So if you was to bring somebody else in, you'd say, yeah, they aren't going to have, say, numbers like Salah for the past so many years, but then when they come into this side and they work with Klopp, work with that team, they then could replicate them numbers. So if you're talking 80 million for him, I would rather go and pay 25, 30 and get Rafinha, because I do believe that he could develop into that Salah-esque player with our coaching team. But I think it's just all he say, because I'm still 100% confident that Mo Salah stays.
All right, let me put a question to you then, Matty. Let's just cancel out the whole transfer, the amount of money that we're going to pay for him. Let's say Salah leaves at the end of his contract, joins a Barcelona, somebody like that. Serge Gnabry also leaves. Would see, you get Serge Gnabry on a free and you're probably going to be paying him less than what Salah's on now. That's a decent deal, that, for a 26, 27-year-old.
Yeah, if you're getting him for free, then I'd take him. But if you're talking like 80, 90 million, I think that you could probably maybe test Juventus's hand with Chiesa for that amount of money. So then that's a whole different ball game because I think he's levels above Gnabry. So it's all about fees. I mean, if we go and spend 80 million on Gnabry, I wouldn't be happy really, to be honest with you, because there is well better options out there. I do think for that price mark range, I think he's a good player. But we've seen time and time again players. Look at the Iago Aspas, awful at us. He's well beaten in Spain. So it's how good can he? And Gnabry was awful in the Prem. Yeah, he was with West Brom, but can he come back and be good in the Prem? We've the German league's nowhere near the quality of the Premier League, and we've seen it with so many players move abroad. And Luis Alberto, another one, he's Lazio's best player. He's shocking at us. So it's just what can he come and do it in the Prem because he hasn't done it before. Yeah, he was younger. Or could he be like a Salah who comes back for vengeance and is world class? I guess you'd never know. But if you're getting him for 20, 30 mil, I'd say yeah. But for 80 million, there's better options than that out there, I think.
Jay, though, it's, you seem to be on the Chiesa train over Gnabry. But, as, Matty did say there, players do go to different leagues and they become, great players. But he's been doing it in the Champions League. Did he score 4 against Spurs?
Yes, he said London's red after it, didn't he, or something?
Yeah, so and I'm pretty sure I did a piece on him. I think he's got 101 goal contributions in 163 games for Bayern Munich, and he's got 20 goals in 31 games for Germany. They're impressive numbers, aren't they? We can't be sniffing up at that. And I think if his age as well, I mean, anyone come in and disagree with me, but I think at his age, with Klopp's system, he can play in, across the whole front three. I think if you're giving me a straight swap for Salah, I wouldn't take it, but I'd be very tempted to, considering the age range, and the sheer amount of goals that he scored.
I wouldn't swap him for Salah if it was coming like on a free. Listen, I don't dislike Gnabry. He is a good player. But if he was like our marquee signing and we're going to put 80 million on him, I just wouldn't pick him to spend that type of money on. Bear in mind, we got Van Dijk for 75. 80 millions, it's going to be our record transfer. So on Serge Gnabry, no, I like him. But nah, not 80 millions, and I wouldn't be doing swaps for what people argue is the best player in the world in Salah, because I think if you're going to swap Salah, you could go to a number of clubs across Europe and poach one of the best players for him, because that's how big his flock is at the minute for Salah. And I think if you're going to do that, you'd have to go for Chiesa. Might just be my bias, but I think he's brilliant myself.
Yeah, Louis, you seem to, some thoughts going on there. What are your thoughts on Chiesa ahead of Gnabry?
DJ's made a point that he's done his ACL, so that's always something to take into account as well. Yeah, if we're talking between those two, I'd go for Chiesa every day. But if we're talking straight swap, no money involved, and it was Gnabry for Salah, I think I'd have to take it. It wouldn't be my first choice, but if that's what you're putting in front of me in that scenario, I think I would take it. Because we've talked, whenever the Salah contract comes up, we always talk about, like, if he doesn't sign and we have to sell him, who would be able to buy him? And if not, we'd have to cut down our price for him massively. So the age does become quite important, and like the context surrounding it. So for me, getting someone 6-7 years younger who does have impressive stats in the Bundesliga, I think that's, as you said, Charlie, that's not something to be sniffed at necessarily.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Real Madrid are the other club interested in him as well. So This story's obviously ongoing, and Bayern Munich are trying the hardest to get him to sign. So I think he'll personally resign with Bayern Munich. I think he likes it there and he's happy, you know, with his home country as well.